Round 5, sourcing a product. This is an interesting part. You said earlier, we talked a lot about China, and then you said there's other places too. So here we go. Let's use an example. I got a product. I'm excited about it. It checks out with all the criteria. Now I got to find a way to get it and get it over to Amazon. And so how do I go about it? Where would you go? Where would you look for? Talk to us.
So you mean finding it first to find out where you can actually source it from?
Yeah,
right?
I want to find a source. I want to find where I can get it. Like
Sure. One of the main places we use, especially when we're learning, teaching people how to start, we go to Alibaba.com. It's not where the majority of experts would go, but it's a great place to go to get started. And Alibaba offers, things where you can find manufacturers all across the world, right? You will find a great number of them are in China. All right, it's just what it is. They have a lot of manufacturer companies over there. They can do it cheap. And I don't want people to be scared when they say China, because we can always say, hey, you know what? I don't want junk. I want premium product, right? You're very specific when we're asking suppliers something, right? And so a lot of people are like, oh, China junk. Well, you can get junk if you want junk, but we don't want junk. We want premium products. So Alibaba.com is a great place to go. You can go in there and search for whatever you're looking for. And it really depends on the market, what you're looking for, right? If you're looking for mugs or everyday stuff, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's coming from China, which is okay. It's great. There are very specific parts of the world that had different things. Like I know that like India and Pakistan, for example, they're really good into like textiles, bamboo, for example. Right, bamboo clothing or bamboo, things for baby. It's very soft. It comes from that neck of the woods.
Clothing out of bamboo?
Bamboo, yeah, bamboo clothing. It's actually, well, you're talking about babies before, so actually it's a very soft thing for babies. So, if you ever get into that area, you want to look into it. Baby clothing,
Do they
bamboo.
make bamboo.
I don't know the
pacifiers?
answer to that,
Okay.
but you never know.
I'll look it up, man.
But besides just doing Alibaba, just do a Google search. I mean, if you were the specific things you're looking for, you might want to, if you're in the United States and you want to have, suppliers in the United States, we would do a Google search. You're looking for whatever it is that we're looking for, along with supplier or manufacturer or wholesaler, that sort of thing. If you're in the supplement niche, you're going to want to have things from the United States because you have all the FDA approval, all the different things. There's more hoops you have to go through to make sure it's done. We always say that anything that's on the body, in the body. So on the body, like, any kind of skin stuff, anything you're putting inside the body, like supplements, or anything that's really pet related that they're also putting it in their body, you want to have it sourced in the United States.
So are U.S. suppliers on Alibaba?
They are. And you can actually sort based on that too. So you can actually go in there and say, I only want to be suppliers from the United States. Do realize that you are competing, like let's say these mugs, for example, you're going to be competing with China as well. They're always going to, at this time anyway, they'll be cheaper over there. Even, bringing it overseas, it'll still end up being usually a lot cheaper. But there's going to be exceptions. And as tariffs are changing, I know this is probably a whole different line of conversation, but it could get to a point where then we can then be doing more stuff in the United States because the competitive niche, the price competitive is going to be more on the same level here moving forward. It could be anyway.
Okay. But right now it's still China's better. You had mentioned something in the last round. You had said landed price. We never got to it. I wanted to get to it now because I want to skip ahead real quick. When we go to Alibaba and you type in something, I've always been very impressed and shocked at how cheap they come out. Of course, you have to dig deeper and see quantities and all of that thing. But how do you estimate landed price? Before I even reach out to them and ask, do you have some formula? And what is landed price? What else? So they will say $1.20 per piece. What other costs can I immediately know will go above that $1.20?
They don't always include the packaging in there, right? So there'll be some added cost with that. Sometimes it's included, but we won't know these things until we actually start having conversations with them. So we're emailing or chat or WhatsApp, something like that. We're going to be asking these questions and we'll find out. And then of course it's going to be the shipping of that product, to where we need to go, which is going to be the United States. If we're staying within the lines I mentioned, the light and small, then we shouldn't be any more than $1 a piece. And again, that it varies, depending on the different size of things. But usually I try to stay within $1. I say, hey, if it's going to be $4, I'm buying it. I can get it here for $5. Make sense?
So no percentages you apply. So 4 to 5 would be, hey, I'm allowing an additional 25%. Nothing like that.
Not really.
No? Okay.
No, it's gonna be. We do things more per piece.
Okay.
Than percentage.
Okay.
And it's gonna be product specific. It really will be. But again, if we're staying within those parameters, it's not going to be much different. There are times where I'm doing something that's a little more bulky, that it could be over $2 a piece, but it's rare. And usually, again, we'll work that into the price. We can work it into the retail, but that landed price we talked about, I like to, again, keep it 3 to 5x somewhere in there to the selling price. So whatever the landed cost is, multiply it by 3 to 5 times, and that's what I want to be selling it at.
And that's because there are other costs, right? Once it reaches US, you have to then get it to Amazon, and then Amazon takes their share, and you want some marketing money as well. So that's why the 3 to 5x?
Yeah, Amazon's obviously, they're in the market here to make money, right? They're doing really well at it. There's going to be expenses for storage. There's going to be expenses that they're going to charge us per sale. So they take their fee for the sales that go through. And we're going to have advertising costs. We're going to have launch costs. All these different costs are going to be involved in this business that we have to add and factor that out, right? When we work those all in, if working on the 3 to 5x based on the landing costs, then we have those margins to be able to work out so we can get at least a net of 35%. A lot of times people in this business, they're not factoring all these things in there. And if they're, hey, this is pretty good, I can get it for $5 and sell it for 10, you're going to be out of business really fast, because you're not factoring all those different costs in there.
Makes perfect sense. God, I wish I had invented Amazon, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
They got the sellers paying, they got the buyers paying, they got ads. I mean, they got everything. That's great. Okay, so Alibaba.com, let's go coffee mug. That's what I decided to sell, even though we've made it clear like that's not really a good product. But so I would go Alibaba.com, type it into the browser, type in coffee mug. And then a whole bunch of things spit out at me. I mean, I can already imagine there's probably thousands of suppliers of coffee mugs. How do I navigate to find the core people I want to first talk to? What are the metrics you use? Is there particular standards, filters, anything you do?
Yeah, good question. And you got to realize too that sometimes we'll put a keyword in the Alibaba, and because of the language differences, it might be a little different as well. So we might say coffee mug, or they might say coffee cup. I'm just throwing it out there, but you have to go through sometimes and play around with the keywords because they might call it a little different. What I usually do in my search before we actually hit that search is I want to check a few things in Alibaba. They have things. I was actually just going through it yesterday. They're always changing things too, just like Amazon's always changing. They have this thing where there's a verified supplier check. All right, I want to do that because that's going to incorporate now a gold supplier, which basically just says that it's one of their better suppliers, been around for some time, and it'll actually, once it goes to the search, it'll show suppliers that have been around a little bit longer. We want to do ones that actually are assessed suppliers, which basically means that someone has gone there and looked at the factory.
They've assessed.
Someone
assessed.
went assessed.
Okay, got
it. Where someone has gone there and they were okay with the standards of China. One thing I want to make sure I'm never doing is I never want to be promoting. I never want to be working with a company or manufacturer that's breaking child labor laws, for example. All right. I don't want to do that. I want to make this world a better place. I don't want to forward things that are happening that is negative, right? So there's things that I can check in Alibaba to make sure that that's happening. And also there's a trade assurance. When we're working with a new supplier, we don't know if they are trying to rip people off, or that they're a legitimate supplier. So you can do this trade assurance, where Alibaba is basically saying, we're Alibaba. We're going to stand back behind this supplier because we've worked with them for whatever so time. We assessed them, all this other stuff. And so I could feel more comfortable putting in place, an order with them. Plus, Alibaba will back us up in case something does happen. So different things we'll go through there. And I do, make sure that you do all those different things. You could back off on the assessed supplier if nothing comes up, but the other ones we definitely want to have a verified supplier and make sure that it's recommended by Alibaba.
It's awesome. All right, so there's the checklist of things to look for. I guess the last piece really is just then you communicate with them to figure out who you just want to work with more.
And there's tons of ways of doing that too. When you find these different, you click on one of these suppliers, one of these manufacturers, you'll go through the page and it'll show different ways of contacting them. They'll have a contact button you can do right through email in Alibaba's system. They'll have sometimes a chat little window that can pop up. They'll sometimes provide their WhatsApp or WeChat or Skype or something like that. You're just going to have to keep notes of what all these different things are because, whatever their preferred way of doing it. And sometimes they actually will allow you to do your preferred way of doing it. But there's tons of different ways to contacting them. And I like doing the one that is outside of email just because then you start moving quicker.
Any no-nos? Like if someone says something back or does something or doesn't do something, is there any major red flag where boom, I'm out?
If they are not going to respond in a timely manner is a huge thing for me. Because if it takes 4 or 5 days for them to get back to me in the initial comment, I'm trying to say, hey, I want to buy your product. I want to buy 1,000 pieces of whatever. And they're not responding back to me. Well, how long is it going to take for me to put an order through with them?
Same thing that happens when I'm on looking for an outsourcer, like Upwork or whatever. I have a rule, 24 hours. If you don't get back to me in 24 hours during the sales cycle, then it's going to be a nightmare on the other side.
They're showing you what they're going to perform, throughout. So yeah.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.